I was halfway through an interrogation when it finally hit me. I wasn't getting out of this. The detective across the table leaned forward, his fingers steepled like he was waiting for me to crack. Maya, your fingerprints were on the jewelry box. Your sister says she caught you sneaking into her room. You were the only one home when it went missing. So why don't you just tell us the truth? I let out a hollow laugh. The truth? The truth is my sister set me up, and you all fell for it. The door burst open before he could respond. My mom walked in, eyes red-rimmed, gripping her purse like she wanted to hit me with it. The police are dropping the charges, she said stiffly, then turned to the detective. Leah doesn't want to press charges anymore. She just wants to move on. The detective frowned but nodded. Fine. She's free to go. I exhaled, relief washing over me. But then my mother turned to me with a look so cold it sent a chill down my spine. But we're not done. 2 hours later, the real punishment. I barely had time to process what had happened before Mom dragged me into the living room. Leah sat on the couch, hugging her knees, still playing the fragile victim. Mom pointed a shaking finger at me. You disgust me. After everything we've done for you. Are you kidding me? I cut in, my voice rising. She framed me, Mom. She planted the damn ring in my room. Leah let out a small whimper. Mom shot me a death glare. I don't want to hear another word. You think I don't know my own daughters? You're selfish, Maya. You always have been, and I won't let you drag this family down anymore. Then she said something that knocked the air from my lungs. I'm giving your university fund to Leah. I blinked. What? You heard me, she said, voice like ice. You clearly don't deserve it. Leah needs stability, and I refuse to waste that money on someone who steals from her own blood. Leah sniffled and wiped a fake tear away. I just want us to be a family again, Maya. My hands clenched in a fist. She was enjoying this. She had planned everything down to the last detail. And worst of all, it worked. Mom turned to leave, but I wasn't done. You just made the worst mistake of your life, I said, my voice deadly calm. Mom hesitated for a second, but then walked away. Leah smirked at me as soon as she was gone. A slow, satisfied smirk. And that's when I knew I wasn't going to let her win. Not this time. I went back to my room in a daze, shutting the door behind me before I could completely break down. My hands were shaking. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor, my mind cycling through everything that had just happened. Leah had won. She didn't just frame me for stealing. She took my entire future. The money I'd worked so hard to deserve, the one thing that was supposed to get me out of this house and into a life of my own, was now hers. And Mom had handed it over without a second thought. I grabbed my phone, about to call someone, anyone who would believe me. But as soon as I unlocked it, I saw the messages. Emma, best friend. What? Leah just posted about you stealing? Call me. Jake study group. Damn, Maya. Didn't think you were like that. Unknown number. Thief. My stomach dropped. I opened Leah's profile and saw the post. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to say, but I need to be honest. Today, I found out my own sister stole from me. Our grandmother's ring. Something priceless to our family. I didn't want to believe it, but the truth came out. I'm heartbroken, but I know she needs help. If you see this, please don't send her hate. Just hope she learns from this. The comments were full of sympathy. People offering support, telling her how strong she was. A few people I thought were my friends had liked the post. She had planned this too. I threw my phone onto the bed and gripped my head. I had nothing left. No college fund, no way out, and now my reputation was gone too. But the worst part? I couldn't even prove she did it. I needed to think. I needed a plan. I needed to destroy Leah before she destroyed me. The next morning, I barely made it downstairs before Leah and Mom were sitting at the kitchen table, talking in low voices. As soon as I stepped in, Leah flinched like she was scared of me. Mom's face hardened. You can eat later. Leah and I are discussing something important. I stared at her. Are you serious? Leah rubbed her arm, eyes full of fake concern. Maya, I really want to move past this, but I don't think you even feel bad about what happened. I almost laughed, because I didn't do it. Mom stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. Enough. You need to start accepting responsibility for your actions. My jaw clenched. So that's it? She gets my future handed to her, and I just have to live with it. Mom sighed like she was the real victim here. Actions have consequences. Leah wouldn't meet my eyes. She was playing her role too perfectly. I knew if I lost control, I'd just make myself look worse. So I didn't. I turned around and walked back to my room. And then I started digging. Leah had never been smart enough to cover her tracks completely. She was good at playing innocent, at getting people to believe her, but I knew her better than anyone. I knew her weak spots. I started with her room. If she had been planning this, she had to have something, evidence, messages, anything. I waited until Mom left for work, then made my move. Leah never locked her door. She thought she didn't have to. I pushed it open and went straight to her desk. Her laptop was there. I lifted the lid, but of course it was locked. I tried her closet next, going through boxes, drawers, anywhere she might have stashed something. Nothing. Then I checked her nightstand. At first it seemed empty, but when I pulled the drawer all the way out, I saw it. A crumpled up receipt shoved into the back corner. I smoothed it out and my blood went cold. Pawn shop transaction. Item sold. Gold ring with sapphire. Date: 2 days ago. Leah sold the ring. She never found it in my room. She never lost it at all. She got rid of it before she even accused me. I took a picture of the receipt with my phone and put it back exactly where I found it. My heart was racing, but I forced myself to stay calm. I had proof now, but it wasn't enough. If I confronted her, she'd just lie her way out of it. Mom would probably say I faked the receipt or stole that too. I needed to be smart. I needed to catch her in a lie she couldn't escape from. And I knew exactly how to do it. That night I waited. Leah had been acting like she won, like I was just going to roll over and take it. She wasn't expecting me to fight back. At around midnight, I heard her door open. I was already in place. She crept down the hall, heading for the kitchen. I slipped out of my room, silent as possible, and followed. She was standing by the fridge, scrolling through her phone. I stepped into the doorway. Couldn't sleep? She jumped, turning to face me. Jesus, Maya, what the hell? I folded my arms. So, where's the ring now? Her eyes flickered. I already told you. I found it in your room. I tilted my head. Right? But where is it? She hesitated for half a second. Mom has it. Liar. I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened the picture of the receipt, turning the screen toward her. She went pale. You sold it before you accused me, I said. You never lost it. You just wanted my tuition. Her mouth opened and closed. That's fake. I smirked. Then let's go to the shop tomorrow and check their records. Her whole body stiffened. I could see the panic creeping in. Maya, listen, No. I cut her off. I listened when you lied to Mom. I listened when you posted about me online. Now you listen. You're going to fix this. Or I will. She swallowed hard, eyes darting to the hallway like she was trying to figure out if she could get Mom involved before this went any further. I stepped closer. One way or another, Leah, the truth is coming out. She didn't respond. She just turned and walked. The next morning, I got up before Leah. Mom had already left for work, which gave me time to think. Leah knew I had her cornered, but she wasn't going to give up that easily. She was probably already trying to figure out a way to flip the situation on me again. I wasn't going to let that happen. I needed leverage. I left the house and headed straight to the pawn shop. The place was small, cramped, and smelled like old metal and cigarette smoke. A bored-looking guy behind the counter barely glanced at me when I walked in. I need information on a sale that happened 2 days ago, I said. He sighed. We don't give out customer information. I pulled out my phone and showed him the picture of the receipt. This is from here. I just need to know if you still have the ring. He eyed the receipt, then me. You the owner? My grandmother was, I said. It was stolen and sold here. He rubbed his face, already looking annoyed. Look, kid, I don't want trouble. If it was stolen, go to the cops. I took a deep breath. They won't listen to me. That seemed to get his attention. He studied me for a second, then sighed and turned to a shelf behind the counter. After rummaging around, he pulled out a small tray with a handful of jewelry on it. I spotted it immediately, the sapphire ring. He nodded at it. Your grandma's? I reached out but hesitated. Can I buy it back? 300. That was money I didn't have, but I wasn't leaving without that ring. Can you hold it for a day? I asked. I swear I'll get the money. He exhaled, looking like he was already regretting this. One day, if you don't come back, it's going in the display case. I left before he could change his mind. I had 24 hours to come up with $300. I had one option. I needed help. I swallowed my pride and sent a text to the only person who might still believe me. Maya, Emma, I need you. Please. She read it immediately. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. I waited, staring at the screen, my stomach twisting. Then her reply came through. Emma, where are you? Emma met me at the cafe near our school. She walked in, spotted me, and crossed her arms as she sat down. Leah posted a whole novel about you online, she said. People are talking about it at school. I clenched my jaw. Do you believe it? She sighed. I don't know. It's a lot. I pulled up the picture of the pawn shop receipt and slid my phone across the table. She frowned as she read it. She sold it. I nodded. She set me up. She got me arrested. And now she has my tuition fund. Emma looked up at me, and I could see her mind shifting gears. She was putting it together. Jesus. I need $300 to buy it back, I said. If I can prove she sold it, I can at least show Mom the truth. Emma exhaled. I don't have that kind of money. I felt my stomach drop. But, she added, I do have someone who owes me a favor. Emma's cousin, Kyle, was a senior who worked part-time at a car repair shop. She dragged me there without explaining much, and before I knew it, I was standing in front of some guy covered in grease while Emma explained the situation. You need $300? Kyle asked. What for? Emma kept it vague. To fix something that shouldn't have been broken. He sighed and wiped his hands on a rag. I don't have cash on me, but I can spot you if you work it off. I nodded immediately. I'll do whatever it takes. Kyle didn't ask for details. He just handed over the money, and I promised I'd work off every cent. Emma drove me straight back to the pawn shop. The guy behind the counter looked surprised when I walked in, but when I set the $300 on the counter, he didn't say a word. He just handed me the ring. I held it in my palm, staring at the thing that had cost me everything. Then I slipped it into my pocket. Now I had my proof. I wasn't going to wait. I was ending this tonight. I got home before Leah and Mom. I knew Leah would be at her friend's house, probably bragging about how she ruined my life. Mom would be working late. That gave me a few hours to set everything up. I grabbed an old phone I hadn't used in years, wiped it, and set it up with a new number. Then I downloaded a recording app and placed it carefully under Leah's bed. If I knew my sister, she would be on the phone tonight, running her mouth. I had the ring. I had the receipt. Now, I needed her own words to bury her. I waited. At around 10, I heard Leah come in. She was laughing about something. Then her door shut. I gave it about 15 minutes before sneaking into her room. The phone was still recording. I grabbed it and slipped back out, heart hammering. Back in my room, I hit play. It was muffled, but I could hear her voice. Maya still thinks she's getting that money back. She's so stupid. My hands tightened around the phone. Then I heard her friend's voice. Aren't you scared she's gonna, prove it wasn't her? Leah laughed. How? Mom believes everything I say. And even if she did find proof, I'd just say she faked it. She has no way out of this. I stopped the recording. That was all I needed. Mom got home late. I was waiting for her in the living room. Leah came downstairs a few minutes later, probably to keep up her innocent act. I didn't waste time. I pulled the receipt from my pocket and set it on the table. Explain this. Mom frowned and picked it up. Leah barely even looked at it. What is this supposed to be? The ring you said I stole? You sold it before you accused me. Mom's face darkened. Leah scoffed. Are you kidding me? She's lying again. I pulled out the ring and held it up. Pawn shop guy still had it. I bought it back. Mom's mouth opened, then closed. She looked at Leah. I don't understand. You found this in Maya's room. I pulled out my phone and hit play on the recording. Leah's own voice filled the room. Even if she did find proof, I'd just say she faked it. She has no way out of this. Silence. Leah's face drained of color. Mom looked between us, her grip tightening on the receipt. Leah? For the first time, she had nothing to say. Mom turned to me, her face unreadable. Go to your room, Maya. I didn't argue. I stood up, walked past Leah, and headed upstairs. I didn't know what was about to happen, But for the first time in weeks, I knew Leah wasn't going to win. I sat on my bed, staring at the door, listening. The walls were thin enough that I could hear the argument happening downstairs. "What the hell, Leah?" Mom's voice was sharp, angrier than I had ever heard it. There was no more hesitation, no more blind defense. Mom, I didn't think she would," Leah stammered. "You didn't think she would what?" "Prove that you're a liar." I leaned closer, heart pounding. "You set her up," Mom continued. "You made me believe she was a thief. You let me give you her tuition money." Leah's voice was smaller now. I just thought." "Thought what?" Mom snapped. "That you deserved it more? That she'd just let you destroy her life?" There was a long silence. Then Leah's voice turned desperate. "She doesn't even appreciate you. She was gonna leave, Mom. She was gonna go to college and never look back. Just like you always said she would." I stayed. I wanted to stay. Doesn't that mean something? I shut my eyes. So that was it. Leah didn't just want my tuition. She wanted me gone. Mom let out a harsh laugh. "You're actually trying to make yourself the victim right now?" Leah sniffled. I could hear her trying to turn on the tears again. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. You had her arrested," Mom shouted. "You humiliated her in front of her friends. Her voice cracked. "You made me hate my own daughter." Leah was fully crying now. "Mom, I'm sorry. Please, I don't want to hear it," Mom snapped. "You're going to fix this. You're going to return every cent of that money to her. And if you ever pull something like this again, I swear to God," she stopped herself, taking a deep breath. "Go to your room." "But now." Footsteps stomped up the stairs. I barely had time to move before my door burst open and Leah came in. She looked furious, her face blotchy from crying. "You think you won?" she hissed. I stood up. "I don't think I won." "I did." She stepped closer like she wanted to fight. "Mom is pissed right now, but she'll forgive me. She always does." I didn't flinch. "Maybe, but she'll never trust you again." Leah clenched her jaw. "I hate you." I crossed my arms. "Then stop trying so hard to be me." Her face twisted, and for a second I thought she was going to hit me. But then she just turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I let out a slow breath. It was over. I had my name back, my money, my future, but I didn't feel happy. I felt tired, and I knew, deep down, that things in this house would never be the same again. Leah didn't come out of her room the next morning. Mom didn't call her for breakfast. She didn't say a word to me either. The house was quiet in a way that felt unnatural, like something had shifted overnight and none of us knew how to deal with it. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the untouched plate of food in front of me. I wasn't hungry. I was waiting. Mom finally sat across from me, arms crossed, looking exhausted. She didn't even meet my eyes. "The money is back in your account," she said. "Every cent." I nodded. I had checked the transfer as soon as I woke up. Leah didn't try to fight it. She didn't have a choice. Mom tapped her fingers against the table, thinking, "I don't even know what to say to you." I looked at her, waiting. I believed her. She shook her head. "Even when you swore you didn't do it, I still..." She exhaled sharply, like she hated herself for even saying it. "I didn't just turn on you. I let her ruin you." I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. "I'm sorry, Maya." I wanted to believe she meant it. Maybe part of me did. But another part of me, the part that had spent weeks being treated like a criminal, being called a liar, watching my own mother hand over my future to someone else, couldn't just forgive that. "Sorry isn't enough," I said. Mom nodded slowly. "I know." A door creaked upstairs. Leah was awake. Mom rubbed her face. "I don't even recognize her anymore. I don't know when she got like this." "She's always been like this," I said. "You just didn't want to see it." Mom flinched. Maybe she had convinced herself this was some kind of new behavior, that Leah had just snapped one day and done something horrible. But I knew better. Leah had always been manipulative, always knew how to twist things to her advantage. The only difference was that this time she got caught. "I don't know how to fix this," Mom admitted. "You can't," I said. "She did this to herself." Footsteps moved down the stairs. Leah walked into the kitchen, looking pale, like she hadn't slept. She didn't say a word. She just grabbed a glass of water, avoiding eye contact with both of us. Mom watched her. "You need to apologize to your sister." Leah set the glass down. "For what?" Mom's face twisted. Are you kidding me? Leah turned to me, eyes cold. You got what you wanted, didn't you? The money's back. Your reputation is fine. So what else do you want from me? I stared at her, waiting for something, guilt, regret, anything, but there was nothing. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even pretending anymore. You really don't care, do you? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Whatever. Mom looked furious, but I just stood up and grabbed my bag. I'm done with this. Leah raised an eyebrow. Where are you going? I didn't answer. I just walked out the door. I spent the day at Emma's house. She didn't ask questions. She didn't push me to talk about it. She just let me sit in silence, which was exactly what I needed. At some point, I checked my phone. Leah had deleted the post about me. Some people who had believed her were now messaging me, trying to act like they hadn't. I ignored them. It was too late. By the time I got home, it was late. The house was quiet again. I went straight to my room, locking the door behind me. I didn't want to see Leah. I didn't even want to see Mom. I had won, but it didn't feel like a victory. I was leaving for college in a few months, and as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I made a decision. Once I was gone, I wasn't coming back. Not for Leah. Not for Mom. Not for anything. The weeks passed in tense silence. Leah barely spoke to me. Mom tried, but there was always something forced about it. Like she knew I wasn't going to forget what happened no matter how many times she cooked my favorite meals or asked about my college plans. The damage was done. I kept to myself, counting down the days until I could leave. I didn't bring up what happened again. I didn't need to. Leah had already lost everything she wanted. Her reputation at school was ruined. Mom didn't trust her anymore, and she had a hand over the money she had stolen. That should have been enough, but it wasn't. One night, I woke up to the sound of whispering outside my door. Leah's voice. She's leaving, Mom. She was saying low and desperate. She's really leaving. A pause. Then Mom's tired voice. What did you expect? I sat up, listening. Leah sniffled. You're just going to let her go? Mom sighed. What do you want me to do, Leah? You did this. I could hear Leah breathing hard, like she was struggling to keep it together. She won't come back. There was the thing she was really afraid of. Mom didn't answer right away. Then, softer, I know. I didn't move. I didn't say anything. I just sat there in the dark, letting it sink in. She was right. I wasn't coming back. The day I left for college, neither of them tried to stop me. Leah didn't say goodbye. Mom did, but it was short and quiet, like she knew there was nothing she could say that would make me change my mind. As I walked out the door, I felt nothing. No sadness, no regret. Just relief. Leah had tried to take everything from me, and in the end, she lost me instead.